So, how does a celebrated war hero, a guy who is the pillar of his kingdom, turn into a bloodthirsty tyrant? We're about to dive into the chilling story of Macbeth and watch a good man's terrifyingly fast downfall into a monster, all because of a few fateful decisions. And it all kicks off right here on a creepy, lonely heath with this chant from three witches. Now, this one line, it's basically the key to the entire play. It sets up a world where absolutely nothing is what it seems, where good and bad get completely flipped upside down. It's a world where a dark ambition can easily disguise itself as destiny. All right, so let's start where Macbeth's story really begins, with a supernatural encounter that lights a fuse of ambition so powerful, it's going to burn down an entire kingdom. Now, before we even get to the witches, you have to understand who Macbeth is at the beginning. And honestly, he's the definition of a hero. We hear these incredible reports from the battlefield about how he single-handedly turned the tide of a war, just carving his way through enemies. He's not some villain waiting in the wings. He is the kingdom's greatest champion. And this loyalty isn't just noticed, it's celebrated. King Duncan himself, the king, called him a valiant cousin and a worthy gentleman. This is so important to remember. Macbeth starts out as an honored, trusted, and deeply respected man. He has everything in the world to lose. Then, out on this misty heath, he and his friend Banquo run into the witches. And they greet Macbeth with three absolutely stunning prophecies. The first one is just a fact. He's already the Thane of Glamis. The second one is a total shock. And the third? Well, the third is an impossible, treasonous idea. It's like a drop of poison whispered right into his soul. But here's something that's just as important, the prophecy they give to his friend Banquo. It's this confusing riddle, lesser than Macbeth and greater. He won't be king himself, but his kids will be. And this right here is the play's first big test of character. You've got two men who hear their futures laid out, but it's what they do with that knowledge that's going to define them. And then, the moment that changes absolutely everything. The witches disappear, and almost immediately, messengers from the king show up. Turns out the old Thane of Cotter was a traitor and has been executed, and King Duncan has given his title to Macbeth. Just like that, the impossible starts to feel inevitable. That second prophecy just came true. Banquo's reaction, on the other hand, is pure disbelief. He's like, whoa, hold on a second. He immediately questions where this information is coming from. Can the devil tell the truth? He warns Macbeth that sometimes, dark forces will tell you small truths to earn your trust, just so they can betray you when it really matters. Banquo sees the trap. But Macbeth, he's already mesmerized by the bait. And this is where we see the real battle begin. It's not on a battlefield with swords, it's inside Macbeth's own mind. He is completely torn. He thinks, this can't be evil because it told me something true. But then he thinks, it can't be good because just thinking about what it suggests makes my heart pound and my hair stand on end. And right there, for the very first time, the idea of murder creeps into his head. So that little seed of ambition has been planted. And now, it's about to get watered. And it's going to find the most fertile ground you can possibly imagine in the ruthless determination of his wife, Lady Macbeth. See, any hope Macbeth had that he might become king just by chance, it completely evaporates when King Duncan names his own son, Malcolm, as the official heir to the throne. All of a sudden, there's a real, living, breathing obstacle in his way. And you can almost see his mind shift in that moment. He's not just daydreaming anymore, he's actively trying to hide his thoughts, asking the stars to go dark so no one can see the black and deep desires taking over his heart. Meanwhile, back at their castle, Lady Macbeth gets her husband's letter about the prophecy, and her reaction is immediate and, honestly, chilling. She doesn't doubt the goal for a second. She doubts whether her husband has the guts to do what it takes. Her biggest fear is that he's just too good, too full of the milk of human kindness to just grab the crown that fate has offered him. And what she does next is just terrifying. She doesn't just accept evil. She basically performs a ritual to summon it. She literally calls on dark spirits to unsex her, to take away every bit of her feminine compassion, and fill her up from head to toe with direst cruelty. This isn't just an impulse. It's a calculated move. She's preparing for murder like a soldier prepares for battle. So when Macbeth gets home, she lays out the strategy: total deception. He has to become a master of hypocrisy. She tells him to welcome the king, smile at him, be the perfect host, look like the innocent flower, she says, but be the serpent under it. Their entire path to power is going to be built on lies. Okay, so the plan is set. The king is literally a guest in their house. That dark thought, now fueled by ambition and his wife's persuasion, is just hours away from becoming a bloody, irreversible reality. But wait, Macbeth's conscience isn't completely gone yet. As the moment gets closer, he gets cold feet. He starts listing all the reasons why this is a monstrous crime. Duncan is his king, he's his cousin, and he's a guest in his home. Plus, he's been a good king. Overwhelmed by just how awful it is, he tells his wife to plans off. And for a split second, the hero in him flickers back to life. Lady Macbeth's response is pure psychological warfare. She doesn't argue with his reasons, she just shatters his sense of self. She calls him a coward, she questions his love for her, and then she delivers the final, crushing blow. She attacks his manhood. She tells him that only when he dared to commit murder, that's when he was a real man. It is cruel, it is brilliant, and it works perfectly. With his will completely broken, she lays out the cold, calculated details. This isn't a crime of passion. It is a full-blown conspiracy. They'll wait for Duncan to fall asleep, get his guards so drunk they pass out, kill the king with the guards' own daggers, and then smear the blood all over them to frame them. It's methodical, it's ruthless, and in their minds, it's foolproof. But as Macbeth goes to commit the murder, his mind finally starts to crack under all the pressure. His guilt and his terror create a hallucination right in front of his eyes. A ghostly dagger with the handle pointing right at him, leading him towards Duncan's room. It's a dagger of the mind, a horrifying vision cooked up by his own tormented conscience. The murder itself happens offstage. What we see is the immediate aftermath, and it is pure psychological ruin. Macbeth stumbles back in, his hands covered in blood, and he's just a wreck. He's so spiritually broken that he couldn't say amen. He heard a voice crying that he has martyred sleep, and he gets it instantly. He has destroyed his own peace forever. The crown isn't even on his head yet, and he's already living in his own personal hell.
So he has the crown. He got what he wanted. But it doesn't bring any glory, and it definitely doesn't bring any security. All it brings is a whirlwind of paranoia and a spiral of violence that is only just getting started.
The next morning is just a storm of chaos and quick thinking. Macduff discovers the body. To cover his tracks, Macbeth immediately kills the two guards in a fake fit of rage, silencing them for good. The king's sons, Malcolm and Donalbain, are terrified they're next, so they flee the country. Of course, this makes them look guilty, and with the heirs gone, the path is clear. Macbeth is proclaimed king. But that crown just makes him paranoid. He's terrified of Banquo's prophecy, that Banquo's sons will be kings. So he has his friend murdered too. And at his very first state banquet as king, that crime comes back to haunt him. He sees Banquo's bloody ghost sitting in his chair at the table. To all his guests, the new king is just screaming at an empty seat. His guilt and his tyranny are on full display for everyone to see. After that disaster of a banquet, Macbeth finally understands the terrible new math of his life. He is in so deep that turning back now is just as hard as pushing forward. And he says the line that will define the rest of his reign: blood will have blood. He realizes that violence isn't a tool you just use once and put away. It's a cycle. And his descent has only just begun, which leaves you wondering, is becoming a tyrant a single choice? Or is it a door that once you open it can never be closed again?